Good morning. This is Joe Ato from Frankfurt on Foot, and today we are in Frankfurt Griesheim. There's another Griesheim, but that's by Darmstadt. We're in the Frankfurt Griesheim. This neighborhood in Frankfurt was annexed on in 1928, and we're standing here in front of the bombing bunker left over from World War II. So this is kind of like a little village. There's lots of cute little houses. There's a train station here, the S1 and the S2 end up here. But the station's not very attractive, and I don't even know if I want to show it to you or not. So you have a lot of little houses like this, just 2, maybe 3 stories high, and not so many apartment buildings. It's a very, very old neighborhood. It still has, parts of the street still have gas lights left over, like this one here. Unfortunately, they've been taking them down and replacing them with regular lights, but there's just something about the gas lights that's really pretty. We're close to the main river, the Main River, I should say. So there's always lots of birds flying around in the morning. You hear the geese flying over. I'll stop for a second, you just can hear the birds. Yeah. There's generations of people that have been living here for, I don't know, since the 1500s. We know that the Romans were here. Griesheim has its own little historical society. And they look stuff up. You can kind of get a view of these little houses. We'll go down this way, get closer to the river. There are a lot of brick houses. There was a factory here that made oilcloth. Tablecloths. This is like a huge international factory. Employed a lot of foreigners. And also there was a factory here called the Little IG Farben. So IG Farben was a big company in Höchst. And this was just a little one. So they made pharmaceuticals and dyes. IG Farben. Farben means color or dye. And dye was big business in Frankfurt. And obviously was big business here too. So in 1928, Höchst, Need, Griesheim, they were all annexed onto Frankfurt. They had to change a lot of street names then. You can tell this house here is old. As is this one. I think the oldest house that's here dates back to about 1600. And it originally was a Fachwerk house, or half-timbered house. There really aren't any half-timbered houses here. It's all nice brickwork. I like living here. It's a quiet neighborhood. I like the feeling that it's sort of like a village. That it's more little houses, small houses with maybe 1 or 2 families, maybe 4, instead of big apartment buildings. So this building here you can see, built in 1888. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but up on top of this house, looks like a dock right here. Looks like there's something up there, like a cat. Right up there. Let's zoom in. Looks like a cat statue to me. So those are called Dachreiter, or roof riders. And you see those a lot in smaller towns in Hessen. Bootingen, you see a lot of them. I like things like these old shutter holders. I'm always looking for these. They always look a little bit different, depending on if they've been painted or not, how old they are. We're walking towards a really cool looking house. One of my favorite houses here in Griesheim. The street ends up right in the river. That's how close the river is to this little neighborhood of Frankfurt. And the street is called Am Brennhaus. Look at this fabulous house. All these houses are pretty along here. But this guy here, Zum Deutschen Haus, it says. It kind of looks like they may have restored this a bit because he looks really cleaned up. It says it was restored in, it says in 2021. Yeah. Take a look around at all the little houses. So if you're looking for a neighborhood to live in Frankfurt, I can highly recommend Griesheim. The rents aren't as expensive as in other parts of Frankfurt. It just has a cozier feel. We're only one stop from the main train station. And the trains that go through here also go on to Wiesbaden or Niedernhausen. It's nice to come down to the river and walk. Early in the morning, they have lots of little boats. If you're a boater, they have little docks for small sailboats and dinghies. And here the geese, I can hear the geese now. So this goes straight down. This just follows along the river. More nice houses. And down through here. This is called Alt Griesheim. And then the name changes to Griesheimer Stadtweg. Now this little area over here that's now a playground in somebody's backyard at one time was a spot for Jews to come. And they would come down from Frankfurt, they would walk here. And they had like a little prayer room here. That was a place for them to be down by the river and be out of the restrictions of Frankfurt. It was called a Lustgarten. There is a Jewish cemetery in Griesheim. It has very few gravestones in it. and it's not open to the public. But here we go, we're at the river. So this is nice to come down here for sunrise from this way, from the east, or from sunset from this way. And you've got the Staufen, the dam over there. I see some birds over there, swans, all kinds of geese. And you have these things here, you can see these are for the little boats. We'll come down this way a little bit, and then we'll go back up into the rest of Griesheim. Very peaceful to come down here really, really early in the morning. The water's like glass, all the birds are all flying around and singing. New Year's Day, people are all walking around. You got some gorgeous old houses down along here. It's called the Griesheimer Ufer. So there's the locks over there. So all the barges, all the ships, all the boats all have to go through those locks. If you've seen my ferry video, we go through the locks. But all the huge barges, the tourist ships, the cruise ships, they all go through the locks here. And the Main River has like 35 locks, I think. So we're not that far from the Rhine here. Maybe 40 kilometers, 25 miles, something like that. So we'll go back up through into the old town part of Griesheim. We'll say goodbye to the river. Across the river is, Schwanheim and Need. See, the people are down here letting off fireworks. It wasn't as bad this year as other years, considering they weren't supposed to be selling them this year. People had a lot. I was quite surprised at how many fireworks were going off in the neighborhood for, I'd say, a good 45 minutes. There's plenty of small stores here in Griesheim. As far as grocery stores. This is a Kelterei. They make apple wine here. Knoll Kelterei. This is called Magas. It's kind of Frankfurt dialect for Main Gasse. Gasse is a little alley. So if you live here in Griesheim, you have access to a Reva, a Penny, a Netto, and then a little bit farther down, they have the Griesheim City Center, and they've got an Aldi's, a Lidl, a huge Reva City Center, a Tom Baumarkt, huge pet store. And there's buses that go down there, but honestly, you can walk there on the time it takes to wait on the bus. This part of Frankfurt did suffer some damage in the war, including It hit one of the churches and knocked the tower off. There's lots of hair salons here, doctors, several pharmacies. Lots of bakeries. Lots of pizzerias. We'll just go up this way. Pizzeria Knick-Knack. Again, you have these really pretty houses. So this is 1905. You have a lot of houses built, I'd say, in the early 1900s, right around the turn of the century here, because that's when the factories were in full swing. The oilcloth and the little IG Farben. As we get closer to the train station, I'd say it's more of a modern housing, 1950s, because I think this area did get bombed. I think about 200 houses were destroyed in the war. They're working on this church. This is the Reva over here. Get out of the street so the cars don't run over me. Lovely florist. They have another one that's up by the cemetery that's open, that sells cakes and things on, especially on the weekends. Nice view down the street here. This is Alte Falterstrasse. And the Reva. If you can get a feel for the fact that these are small houses. Pharmacy. There's some Sparkasses and Volksbank here. There's not any like Dresdner or Commerzbank outlets. Phone stores, just like every neighborhood in Frankfurt. There's lots of Turkish kebab stores here. So there's the Linkstrasse. We were down at the other side of this. There's another old church down there that's really pretty. Another pizzeria, Pizzeria Diablo. This is kind of a secondhand store, but they also have things like items that have been discontinued, but from, let's say, CNA. This is a pretty brick building here with the rounded parts on it. Secondhand store. There's a little bit of Fachwerk here. And because most of these houses were built turn of the century, they do have the nice tall 10 and 12-foot ceilings, arched doorways. They're very pretty inside and desirable. But look at this house. It has these cool carvings here on the, let's zoom in. This is Fabriciusstrasse. Some pretty buildings down here. And down there is where the bunker is. Across the street. Another hair salon. Come across because there's a whole group of guys in front of the kebab stand. They may not want to be on my video. This is FEMA. This is a meeting point for girls and women. So there's my Donner over here. They have really good food. I get my pizzas there all the time. My falafel. So there's lots of little stores that have like small things. So, Asian store. And this is the ever popular Griesheim Bahnhof. This is one of the, I'm sorry to say I like Griesheim, but this is one of the worst Bahnhofs. One of the worst stations. There's absolutely no, for people with any kind of disabilities, there's zero accessibility. It's got stairs that you have to walk down and up. There are no ramps, nothing. I'm very sad that the Deutsche Bahn has not done anything. And at one time, this is a gorgeous, beautiful train station. So across the train tracks is a Saalbau that has a big library in it. You can rent it out for events. And when you go up the street there, that runs into Mainzer Landstrasse, and that's where the trams 11 and 21 go. We'll do a walk down there here soon. It's on the list to do real soon. And we'll just finish walking down the street here until we get back to the bunker. If you have questions about living in Griesheim, in this area of Frankfurt, send me your comments. I'll be glad to answer them. I think for affordable housing, Griesheim is one of the best kept secrets in Frankfurt. Nice housing, it's very diverse. It also feels very safe. I have no problem walking down the streets here and late at night coming on the train. People are building. And there's the river. I'd like to go inside this house, into these little rooms here. It must be cute. An area here for the kids to play. So there's usually soccer, people playing cricket. It's covered up. So if it's raining, they have a place to play and be out of the rain. And we're walking towards this bunker. So up until last year, there were tours available inside this bunker. And the people that own it decided to change it all into storage. And so no more tours. But you can rent an apartment up on top. They had their own separate stairwell, an elevator. This is called the Omnibrucke. There's lots of more new, like 1950s apartments over there. And here comes the S-Bahn. It's the S2 going to Niedernhausen. So these are kind of cool apartments with 2 floors, the elevator. I'm gonna come over here so we can see these houses better. So all these houses were all built right around, I think, 1899, 1900. I've got a photo somewhere of these when they were brand new. And the trees that are planted along here also were planted at the same time. So this is Umbrun House. Down the street was where the house was that had the big statue on the corner. This is Erzberger Straße. Here's the rest of the bunker. So again, these are nice brick houses, tall ceilings. I don't know what the rent runs over here, but these, again, playgrounds, big balconies, decent sized apartments. This is August Babelstrasse. The great view that goes straight down to the river. It's just like 3 blocks away. You can see from this building that it was built in 1899. No. I know that these buildings down here were built right around the same time. Off from Schafberg. So I'm going to end the tour now. I hope you've enjoyed our little walk around Frankfurt Griesheim, and I hope you'll join me again for our next tour. We'll see you again soon. This is Jo saying goodbye.